It was India versus Pakistan, match number 6 of the 2025 Asia Cup. A lot of talk before the match, a lot of political talk as well as sports talk, but the match went on. Both teams gave their best effort, but a lot of the bookies were in India's favor, rightfully so. Very, very dominant performance from Team India, led by Suryakumar Yadav, with great, great performances from the bowling department as well as the batting department. But, it's not an India versus Pakistan match without some controversy as well. We'll dig right into each and every aspect of the game. Taran, what are your first initial thoughts of the game?
All right, so focusing on the cricket mainly, I thought the game was one of the most boring India versus Pakistan games from a cricket standpoint. Pakistan, I wish they put up a better target, a better fight. At 50 for 4, I was hoping there would be a partnership put together by their up and coming superstar, another one that they consider Hassan Nawaz, but
Yes,
wasn't to be. Kuldeep Yadav, nobody can pick him. He was on a hat trick. He should have got a hat trick if it wasn't for his drop catch. He would have had 3 and 3.
yes.
And Pakistan just never recovered. Shaheen smacked Hardik for a couple sixes, and they were managed to get 120. And then there was no way this was going to be a daunting task, especially the way Abhishek started that innings. He is in some magical form right now. The way he's hitting the ball, again, first two balls, 4 and 6. Amazing to do that in any match, no matter what format, to be able to do that right from the get-go. Yeah, it was one-way traffic the entire way. India held the upper hand. They have the better players, and they knew how to handle the situation better.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the nail. It was one-sided traffic, and it is interesting because both of these are quote unquote newer teams. We saw obviously with Team India, no more Virat Kohli, no more Rohit Sharma. On the other side, no more Babar Azam and no more um who else got dropped? Mohammad Rizwan
Mohammad Rizwan, yeah.
as well. So yeah, a lot of new sides. A lot of these teams, a lot of these players did not have baggage of previous India versus Pakistan games, but it did seem like it came down to a difference in skills. As you mentioned, India's spinning really did a turn on Pakistani's batting. Um, and I know this is not spin related, but a little disappointed from Saim Ayub as well. A lot of big talk about him. He's not in the best of forms as well. I think this is his second duck in the Asia Cup. I think someone said online his third duck in the last 5 innings. He's bowling well though, but batting is a little bit of a concern. Let's just focus on Pakistani's batting. How did you think their approach was? Because in my eyes, there's two things that popped out. One, body language looked very timid, and second, it all seemed like they were rotating strike as they should have. The ball was doing some bits, it was moving around, sometimes just rotating strike, and it did seem like they didn't do that because I think at the halfway inning, after 10 overs, 60 around 50 or 60 around 50 to 60% of the balls faced by Pakistan were dot balls. And you can't do that in ODIs, let alone T20.
Yeah, yeah, they didn't rotate the strike properly, and I think they just didn't seem like they had a good game plan together for how to approach setting up that target on that wicket. It was clear that it was a spinner's wicket, and they weren't able to put maneuver the ball in the gaps or hit the boundaries. So they're kind of stuck. It was kind of one of those innings that just trudged along. But you also have to give credit to India's bowling, which I know we'll get to, but they hit their lines and lengths, and so it made it tougher for the Pakistani players to play their shots as well. So I think it. I also think Pakistan should have probably batted second. Probably should
Yes,
have bowled first.
I
They
agree.
won the toss, and generally in the UAE, the dew factor does kicking. I don't know how much of dew was there in the evening. It didn't really matter because India were blazing the run chase anyways. But I felt like Pakistan could have bowled first, taken advantage of those conditions, restricted India or did their best to keep India to a reasonable target, and then probably been in a better position to chase the target. Because sometimes when you chase, it's easier because you know what you have to get. Whereas when you're setting, you don't, and you got to figure out based on how the pitch is playing to determine what's a good target, which can sometimes be challenging, especially when you're playing such a strong bowling attack with three mystery bowlers.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, exactly that. And I think it was a miss on Pakistani's part at the toss because, when India got the ball, Hardik Pandya and Bumrah were making the ball move. And we saw that with the first out of Sam Ayub. Initially I think the first ball, which was like wide, was an in swinger, went wide on leg side. But then the second ball, out swinger, way past Sam Ayub, chased for it, caught by Bumrah at backward point. First of all, what is Bumrah doing at backward point? That's another discussion. But yeah, the ball was nipping around, and yeah, it did seem like a miss on their end when it came to selection of what they wanted to do first. India's bowling though, very impressive. I think as basically they did live up to what was talked about before. Pandya always performs against Pakistan first legal delivery wicket, and then Bumrah gets a wicket in his first over as well. So two quick wickets within the power play definitely added some pressure to Pakistani's batting.
Yeah, yeah. The Indian bowling, there's no way sides are like I don't see how sides dismantle this bowling attack. Again, three mystery bowlers. Bumrah is one of them. Varun Chakravarti, Kuldeep Yadav. How do you hit these guys? Like unless you're playing on absolute flat highways, maybe in on one of those pitches in England where England managed to score 300. Maybe on that wicket they're getting hit a little bit. But they have enough guile and armory in their toolbox or weapons in their toolbox to get a wicket, to prize a wicket, to coax a batsman into getting out. It's super challenging, and I think the only weak link is probably Hardik Pandya. But even him on a good day, he can wreak havoc too. His pace has dropped. I will say that. Like I was surprised to see that he's like high 70s, low 80s. Generally, he's mid 80s miles per hour. That was interesting. But that's the only weak link India really has. Is their fifth and sixth bowler, if you will, is where you could target. And I was actually doing some thinking. Like, if sides score, if they're able to score six and over off of the main three, and then target 4 and 5. So six and over off the main three, that's Bumrah, Chakravarti, Yadav. You're looking at 72 runs. 72 runs out of 12 overs, right? And then Sai's got to target the other two, which is 8 overs, and try to score 10 and over or more. So if you're scoring 10 and over, that's 80 runs, you can get to 150, or you score 100 of the other eight, you can have a reasonable 170 target. I think that's how sides should approach. It's tough otherwise. I don't know how else you go about it.
No, no, and then I think as well, a name that we failed to mention in this discussion, which goes to your point of targeting the bowlers, is the teams have to target Axar Patel. And we know how smart and experienced he is. And yesterday, for example, as well, there was discussions about Pakistan looking to target Axar Patel, wicket to wicket, darting it in, changing his pace, knowing when he might get rushed down the track. He was very smart with his bowling, and I think he went for around 4.5 and over with two
Yeah,
wickets.
yeah, yeah.
So to your point,
It's tough.
you're sure you can get away with maybe playing off the quote unquote mystery bowlers, but then you got Axar Patel waiting. And let's be real, obviously with the pitches India's playing, this is sort of their combination. India still has not in this Asia Cup played their best, what people say T20 bowler, which is Arshdeep Singh. He was the best
Yeah.
bowler in the T20 World Cup. He hasn't seen the light this tournament, but they have some bench strength as well. So to your point, teams really have to think deep for India's bowling.
Don't forget Harshit Rana.
How can I forget? It's Gautam Gambhir's team.
Yeah. So India gets in a target of 127. Should be light work, and it felt like it when Abhishek Sharma stormed to the crease and just went absolutely ballistic from ball one. Those two shots, the inside out six off of Shaheen Afridi was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It definitely did set the tone. It's even set the tone, and it was a little reminiscent to, I would say, how Rohit Sharma used to play, where he used to
Yeah.
obviously try exploiting the power play as much as he could. He had that liberty and flexibility to basically play how he plays, and that's what Abhishek did. Set the tone, made a quick 30. Teams on the back foot. I think he himself scored, I think, 28 against Shaheen's first 2 or 3 overs. So, a complete domination, and it does set the tone, especially at a target of 127. When you're when you get such a good score on the power play, it does allow the team to sort of chill out, rotate the strike, which is basically what numbers 3 and 4 did for Team India.
Yeah, yeah, and just sticking to with Abhishek a little bit, his stillness at the crease is what stands out to me, and I feel like that gives him the ability to have a strong base and then just play the way he plays because it's not easy what he's doing to be able to just come out there and again probably sounding like a broken record saying this but to do it from ball one but because that's how hard it is like most batters like to get a sider they like to defend the first couple balls get a couple singles here and there kind of like how Surya usually plays he
Yes.
gets into his innings there's no getting into your innings with Abhishek Sharma. It's like he starts on sixth, seventh, or eighth gear right from ball one, which is amazing.
Yeah, and to your point, ball 1, this guy's walking down the track against Shaheen Afridi. He's literally walked down the track the first ball. So again, the confidence and the skill are both there for Team India.
Yeah, and then we had Surya and Tilak sort of steer the ship. And
The
to your
Mumbai
point earlier,
connection. Mumbai
yeah,
connection.
yeah, the Mumbai Indian connection. That's right. That's right. So they steered the ship. It was an easy target. There was no pressure from run rate per over, runs required standpoint. They could just take their time with it, and we saw that. We saw some good shots against the
We did.
spinners. Should we talk about Pakistan's bowling? I think India's batting speaks for itself, but anything Pakistan could have done differently?
See, when you want to talk about Pakistan's bowling, particularly this match, it's maybe a shocker to say that Saim Ayub was your best bowler. And
Their
then you
opening
had
bat.
yeah, and you did have the Pakistani coach say that Mohammad Nawaz was the best spinner in the world, and he again didn't look the best against Team India. I know he had some baggage as well from some of the other games, but it does seem like, from a spinning perspective, because obviously I think from a fast bowling perspective, you can say the pitch didn't offer too much. But from a spinning perspective, it did seem like in comparison to Team India, Pakistan was a little bit, not as par, when it comes to skill and able to execute. Obviously some new bowlers as well, but, you know, they definitely need some improvement for sure.
I think shout out to Abrar Ahmed. He tried hard. He only gave 16 runs in his 4 overs and probably seemed the most threatening of the
Yeah.
bowlers.
Yeah.
It's also interesting that Pakistan played 4 spinners and 1 fast bowler. So they obviously knew the conditions are spinning, which again, I don't understand why they didn't bowl first. Why didn't they bowl first and try to restrict India instead of trying to set a target? But anyways, they had their plans for doing that. And yeah, to your point, having Sam Ayub as your main strike bowler, but it also could be that India were trying to take him on, which they
Yeah.
definitely were
Yeah.
in the manner of the dismissals, except for Tilak. Maybe Tilak's that was a gem. That was an
Beautiful,
absolute gem.
beautiful ball.
That is a spinner's dream, especially for an off spinner, to be able to get the ball to rip from that angle. Amazing, amazing ball. But yeah, didn't not a lot of penetration there. Again, you could say Pakistan could have tried things differently, but you also have to give credit to the firepower India's batting. They know how to play spinners. They know how to play on these types
Exactly.
of surfaces. They do this all the time in the IPL, in Chennai, in those other spinning wickets, Kolkata. They know how to tackle or how to maneuver the score, when to score the boundaries. So this is just a cakewalk for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely clinical. And, you know, India's strike rate against spinners, you look at some of their talent, Abhishek Sharma could play spin, Tilak Verma could play spin, Shivam
Yeah.
Dube could play spin, Sanju Samson could play spin. They have a lot of players who could play spin. And it's something as well that I saw, especially during the match as well, is that India's right-left combination, which Gautam Gambhir is a big fan of, was actually troubling Pakistan because India kept rotating the strike. They kept rotating the strike. The fields had to keep getting adjusted. And unfortunately, that is a little bit tiring with the Dubai humidity, with obviously, defending such a low score. So no, India definitely very clinical and very professional in their performance. And, it basically did seem like business as usual. Bowlers restricted the score, great start. And then some of the batters really, with the foundation they had, played it really chill, maybe boring cricket, some may say, but got the W. And, what else do you want?
Yeah, yeah. So are we going to see a rematch, you think, of this in the finals?
Man, man, I hope we do because I feel like there's gonna be more controversy.
Yeah.
You wanna maybe talk about that? We could probably talk about, what happened at the toss because there is some discussion, especially in the online world, that well, let's just take it back. India did not shake hands with Pakistan at the toss. Allegedly, the match referee communicated that to the Pakistani captain during the toss. Pakistan, I think, believe now has officially lodged a complaint to the ICC and to the ACC, I think. Unreal stuff. We know what would have happened few months ago. So that's one controversy. And the second controversy is after the match, Team India did not shake hands with Pakistan. And then Pakistan, in protest, did not send Salman Ali Aga to the presentation ceremony. I know a lot has happened. What are your first initial raw reactions from all that?
Honestly, I haven't dug deeper into understanding what has happened with regards to all this controversy, but from what I see on social media and from what I hear is my initial feelings is we should just play cricket. We should just focus on the game, play the game the way the game should be played, and just leave the politics to the politicians. So if you felt strongly about certain things, I think we talked about this earlier, maybe you don't play the game then.
Yes.
Don't play the game and just that is the stand that you hold rather than fueling and doing other things during the game. Again, I don't know who started what first. There's lots of talk about so and so decided not to do it. This team decided not to. I don't know. I don't know all that. I'm not going to try to figure that out, nor do I care, to be honest. I think that if you're playing a professional game, you play the game the way it's supposed to be played. And not try to fuel any instigations outside of that.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you, Tron. If you have a stand, great. And we've seen this throughout the history of cricket, where teams have not played matches against other teams
Yeah,
for various reasons,
boycotted.
right? For various reasons. South Africa, Sri Lanka, we all know the history of the sport. And if you believe you are right in whatever stand you want to take, for sure, you have the right to not play the game. And India, if they felt very strongly about this, should not have played the game, should have been clear and transparent from the beginning. And I think even the Indian fans would have understood. Right. But unfortunately, if you are playing the game, cricket is one of those sports which comes with quote unquote the spirit of the game. It's a little bit different than some of the North American sports, but with the essence of the spirit of the game, there is that sort of quote unquote gentleman, being more gentlemanary. So it is difficult to understand why India did that, especially after saying they would play the game. But, it is what it is. We'll see what the fallout is because I think definitely there would be some fallout after that, especially with the formal complaint lodged by Team Pakistan. But to your point, does it add fire to any potential Super 4 game or the final game? It could, and then that's going to be box office as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Pakistan progresses during the rest of the tournament because it does seem like India. I hate saying it, but actually I don't hate saying it, but it does seem like India is very well above the rest of the competition. So it'll be a disappointment if India does not make the finals. But it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see how Pakistan fares out because if they do reach the finals or whatever, they're gonna have to face India again. So that'll be super interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even realize there were Super Fours. So there's potentially so you're telling me there's gonna be potentially 3 games? So we could have 2 more India-Pakistan games if they both reach the finals?
Believe so.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. Very interesting. Okay. Well, we can't wait. We can't wait to cover all those games. I honestly thought it was semifinals. For some reason, I thought it was semifinals and then finals. I didn't realize it was Super Four. So we could have
Oh,
two more in
it
it.
is Super Fours, right? It is
Yeah,
Super
yeah,
Fours.
yeah. It is 100%. I'm looking at it right now. It's Super Fours, and it looks like everyone plays everyone. Maybe not actually. Maybe not because. Oh no, everyone plays so we're gonna get another India-Pakistan game if Pakistan qualify, that is.
It's interesting how the schedule is made, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I was gonna add, So we were talking about maybe don't play the game, right? Well, if you don't play the game, a lot of people are not getting paid. And
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that.
No, it's but now, since you played the first game, do you really have a stance to not play any future games, this tournament at least,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
If you play the first
Yeah,
game, it's gonna be the argument for potentially not playing the second or third game, so interesting stuff, but it is what it is.
can be it could be argued that the only reason there's this tournament exists and there's hype around this tournament is because India and Pakistan get to play each other. If you think about it, if you look at all the other teams in this tournament, there's not the competition isn't the greatest, and there isn't any other tournament similar to this. There's no Euro Cup. There's no there's no Oceania Cup or whatever, right? Or an African Cup, or even if there is, there's no hype around it. There's absolutely no hype around it. Oh, it's super interesting everything that goes on because the only reason why this is happening is because of India Pakistan.
Look, you said what everyone sort of thinks about. I think what you said is exactly right. It's a business decision to have this tournament, particularly the eyeballs and the marketing dollars and the sponsorships that come along with, people say the biggest rivalry in cricket, right? There's arguments about
Yeah.
the Ashes, but India Pakistan, it's a little bit deeper than that, as you can saw, as you can see from yesterday. So I completely agree. And having a Super Four as well, where you have
Yeah.
another opportunity to play, I think says it all.
Why? Why would you have super fours? Just do semifinals and finals. I don't get it. I mean, I do get it.
But it is what it is. But no, from a cricketing standpoint, just to recap, I think it was a great game for Team India. Maybe boring for the neutral fan, but it does the controversy, the performances does add a layer for any potential matches up as well. Because, for example, I'm sure Shaheen Afridi is going to be disappointed. He played. Saim Ayub has to make a dent now, has to make a name. So a lot of these layers, I think, transcend this game to potentially the next game. So hopefully next game as well. You got a little more height. These players have a little bit more baggage under them now. So I just think it's going to be an exciting time if they play again at this tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. The tournament hopefully stays alive and we get a lot more competitive games from the other teams as well. And it'll be a lot of fun if we have a different team that reaches the finals. That way we can just focus on the cricket.
I know, I know. I agree. This is a cricket. This is a cricket podcasting channel.
Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Awesome. Great place to wrap it up. We will bring you the reviews of the other games as well. Until then, that stumps.